There's a pretty broad spectrum of types of bars and types of bartending that you can do. Now, it would be beneficial to kind of start with a question of why did you get into bartending? Was it to increase your social life? Was it to increase your income? Because the short answer to this is there is no one best type of bar to work at. It depends on the bartending that you want to do. The type of bartending that you want to do might be different from what I want to do. So here's a comment from a guy that used to work at a craft cocktailing bar, and here he starts out saying that I used to think that if I wasn't bartending at a craft cocktail place that I was wasting my time. And that he went from a nationally renowned cocktail bar to a high volume, kind of mid-level nightclub. And he says that when he started at the nightclub, he realized that, well, yeah, he could make a round of perfect prohibition style drinks with perfect efficiency. And he says, could I make a customer just as stoked with their vodka soda as I could with a fancy cocktail with fresh juices and ingredients? And he says the fact of the matter was, no matter how hot shit he thought he was with cocktails and cocktail creations, that it was, quote, humbling as fuck to get behind the bar at a vodka soda shot and beer nightclub and get smoked by a 21-year-old. And here's another interesting thing to think about with the craft stuff. He said, also be warned, if you really want to go into the craft direction, the money is often shit. Like complete shit. When your drinks take 3 to 7 minutes to make as opposed to 30 seconds or a minute, then you just cut the volume you can do down significantly. And he says, yes, drinks are more often expensive, and yes, most of the time people understand the work that went into it and tip accordingly. You still have a large percentage of your buck a drink crowd. And remember the one drink, $1 rule. Most of the time, it's going to be true that volume and sheer numbers of drinks that you can pump out is going to equal more money. If those are just dirty dive bar drinks or if they're beautiful craft creations. However, you can make the most amount of cocktails per hour, that is where you're gonna maximize your money. And when you can only put out 25 or so drinks in an hour, say goodbye to those wonderful $300 or more nights. And yeah, that's not to say that that's impossible or to make more than that, but they're nowhere near as common as in the high volume, sweating it out in the service world type establishment. Now here's another guy that talks about he loves working at sports bars. And he says everyone has their passion, and I love working at sports bars because I'm a huge sports fan. He said, I would not enjoy working at a craft cocktail bar because it doesn't fit my personality. And he goes on to say, I don't want to work at a place that I talk about the history of liquor. I want to work at a place where I can say, yeah, last night the Wizards and the Nationals both won on last minute buzzer beaters, and they were both number 34. And he goes on to say, and it's important to state that there's no disrespect. There is no one style of bartending that is better than the others. It's all the same job. All we're doing is putting booze in cups to give people a buzz. Don't become somebody you're not just to chase the money. In this industry, the money will come and you'll make more doing what you're comfortable with rather than trying to make yourself someone that you're not. Other styles of bartending that might be appealing, maybe if you love the fine dining or you want to expand your wine knowledge or you are a wine connoisseur and you want to work more in that type of environment, you could, depending on where you're at in the world, you might be able to actually go to a winery and work as a bartender. Then restaurant style bars are great, especially if it's a really busy place. My bar that I work at, I call it a dive bar attached to a restaurant because originally it was a really busy, just drinking hole bar. And over the years, there's more food done and less late night party drinking. But we still have that notoriety of being a drinking spot. So we still have a lot of people that come in and drink a lot. The good thing with restaurant style bartending is that you'll, especially if it's an establishment that has a lot of business, you'll be busy all the time. But generally your cocktails and the style of bartending that you're gonna be doing is pretty simple. It's pretty basic. And whatever type of bar that you're in now or that you think that you wanna be in, realize that sometimes things will change and maybe we have to go to a different style of bar and to a different style of bartending. So there's always gonna be the need for us to continue to improve our knowledge. So that's basically a long-winded answer that there is no best style of bar or best style of bartending out there. It's individual to each of us and how we wanna work, the type of establishment we wanna work in, how we wanna make our money, the types of drinks we wanna make on a regular basis. And the trick is to just really be honest with yourself with the reasons why you're getting into bartending. What do you want to get out of it? Where do you want to work? What is the type of customer that you want to deal with and serve on a regular basis? Because ultimately our job is customer service. And the more we enjoy the people that we're serving, then the better we will be at our job. And I think that will do it for this episode. As always, if you are a fellow bartender who has experience, feel free to chime in. I'm Jason. This has been making you a bartending pro, and I'll see you on the next episode. Take care.